today's craft, something a little bit different, is actually going to involve sewing. So if you'd like to have a go at sewing a really cute little craft, and it's actually pincushions. There's a couple of examples here, and these are actually made from bottle tops. So really, really simple, something you might have lying around here. And you can see this one, I've got a lot of decoration on there, and we've got beading, little French knots there, sort of decoration. You don't want too much decoration because clearly you want to be able to stick your pins or your needles in them. These are really, really cute little things to be able to carry around and put in if you're going out sort of doing some crafting. You can carry those one around. It's another example that a colleague made. So let's look at one there. It's a bit taller, that one. Right, so the things you'll need for this is obviously a bottle top. You want some felt. Any colour will do, any colour that you fancy. So only little bits, as you can see, it's not exactly much. A little bit of stuffing, and then you want some cotton, embroidery cotton or standard sort of cotton, any colours that you fancy there. And then obviously needle, measuring, tape measure and some scissors. And then beads if you are optional, obviously, if you want to do that, or you can leave plain, it's up to you. So the first thing you're going to do is obviously measure out the felt that we need. So to do that, the first thing is you want to measure a piece that's going to go onto the bottom here. So you just take that and draw around it. All right. Then you want a piece that's going to go around the sides. So the best way to do that is measure your bottle top, the height, and you want to just add a few little millimetres above that one. So that will give you the width of your rectangle there. So that gives you that one. You want to say a few millimetres taller because you need to be able to edge the other pieces to it. Then obviously, this is why you need a measurer, not a ruler. You want to measure all the way round. So you just measure that. Okay. Most bottle tops are between 10 and 11 centimetres width there. But you want to add half a centimetre. So on average, you're going to work out to be about 11.5 centimetres. Okay, so that's the piece there that's going to wrap around the side of it. Then you want a square that's cut to 7.5 centimetres. So you do that, and then you're just going to slightly cut the edges so they're a little softer there, and that just makes it a bit easier when we're bringing everything together. And that's going to be the piece that goes on the top. And then you've got your stuffing. So first of all, I'll just cut these out. And so I've already done the one there, so I'll just cut this out, and then we've got all three pieces we need. Okay. And the first thing we're going to do is start with some decorations, if you want to do this. And we're going to do that on the square, the centerpiece. So what you want to do is you want to start right in the center, because that's where the decorations are going to be. I'll just see if I've got a bead that might actually fit onto here. Some of mine might be a bit small. Let's see if that one will fit through the needle. Yep, it will do, so that's good. Right. So there's no right or wrong, and you can use whatever level of sewing and embroidery skills that you have. I'm just going to stick a bead right there in the centre, and then you just secure it by going back down through the hole. Okay. And then it's up to you what else design that you might want to do. So I thought I might do just some little petals here. So you can just make a loop, go back through, and when you're happy with the size of the loop, you need to secure it. So you go back up, right to the edge of where the loop is, and then down the other side of it. You see there, you have a nice loop there, or say it can be the start of a petal, essentially. So I'm just going to go around and do some little embroidery things here, which we'll probably fast forward through because it'd be rather boring to sit here watching me sew. Right, so I'll just show you what I've done so far is I just put a few little embroidery stitches in there and some little French knots dotting around as well. With this project, I should have said it's actually easier if you use two pieces of cotton together, so you might need a slightly wider needle rather than one. For embroidery, it does show up obviously a lot better, and it's a lot easier to work with. So used a double sort of strength of actual thread there. Then what I've done here is I've just put a running stitch all the way around the outside. I'm just going to do the last little one here. And this is so that we can gather it all up together. So what I do there is carefully gather. You see it all just comes in together if you just put that running stitch all the way round. And then, let's have a look. We want to put some stuffing inside it, so just pull this apart. Okay. Use my threads there. Right, so pull that together. If you don't break the thread, so pull very gently, and you'll see how it all pulls together there. And then just spread that out, make sure your design is in the centre and not damaged. Right, and when you're happy with that, then you just need to actually sew this closed. So let's see if I can do that. Make it nice and tight. And just go around it and put a few extra lengths in here, a bit longer, don't want to lose that. Because all this bit's going to be hidden inside your bottle top. So make sure you knock that off well. Another knot in there. There we go. There we are. So that's the top bit. So you can make that as decorative as you like, but just make sure you obviously leave room for all your needles or your pins to actually go into there. And a nice contrast in colour is always a good idea as well. So that's the first bit done. And then the next one is to take the rectangle, and you want to sort of put some decorative stitches along here. Again, you can be more elaborate on this one. Lots of beading I've put on there because this obviously is not going to have any needles or anything stuck into that. So you can just leave plain, obviously, and do that. Here, just left that plain. But you can put some nice decoration on there as well. We've done sort of like almost like little flowers, little beads coming off a stem there. So I'm just going to sew some detail on there, and then we'll show you how that works out. So let's have a look. I'll choose a different colour. Just realised I've chosen very similar colours to last time. Okay. Again, I've used two threads here. Always best if you're doing embroidery to do that. And just want to hide your workings on the back. So that's the one with a bit of biro on it. Some French knots. So I'm just going to wrap this around. It's quite hard when it's something that's so small, but we'll give it a go. So wrap that around, and then back through the same hole. Nice and tight. And then you've got your little French knot there. So we just loop that round several times. Oops, 2, 3, 4. Pull it quite tight, back through the same hole, and then there we are, nice and secured. So I'm just going to carry on and sew some bit more detail on here. Right, so I finished, see the decorations there, I just added some little beads, multicoloured beads there, and then you're just going to wrap this piece around and just sew sort of like a little whip stitch over the little overlapping edges here. You want to try and make it quite tight if possible. Oops, get stuck on the beads. So not my neatest of works, I'm doing this quickly, but oops. It's quite fiddly because obviously it's quite tiny. And you're trying to hold it. There we go, that'll do for now. Right, so once that's attached, you're going to take your bottom panel here and then sew those together. Remember, always hide the knot on the inside. Right, so it's a little, they call it a whip stitch. It's essentially just a little one to join the two. So you're just going to sew those all the way around. Right, so that's done. Again, probably not the neatest, but you can do it later. So that's now all enclosed. So the last thing you have left to do is obviously to attach this and squish that down in there, and it's really that simple. So we just put a knot in this one. It's a really nice craft and quite a nice simple one if you're starting on sewing and just want something nice that's not too long to do, and it's a very useful little craft as well. Oops, bigger knot in there. And uses up all the little bits of felt that you might have around as well. So, there we go. So you just need to make sure the two are actually connected. And I'm just going to do a little blanket stitch on this one to make sure they're quite secure. So through both layers. And then through there. There we go, just go around with that. Yes. There we are, so you just join in the two with a little blanket stitch. Right, so when you get to the end, just make sure you secure that off really well. It's not there. Okay. So that's a finished one there. And I have seen as well, if you'd like to have it as something that you could, if you like to sort of have the needles and pins more readily available on your, and actually wear it on your finger, if you put a hole in the bottom of the bottle top and just thread some, which would be quite a big hole, thread some elastic through the bottom and just tie that as a knot on the inside, because obviously then that's going to be covered up by this. So you have a little loop of elastic, then you can actually wear it on your finger and have that as a finger pin cushion if you find that easier when you're sewing. But if not, then just